Alright, this video is for everybody who has been scouring all of the sponsored reviews looking for footage on the macro lens, the Action 6 macro lens, the close focus, variable focus macro lens that we've all been asking for, I mean, since GoPro did it a year and a half, 2 years ago. When did the GoPro 13 come out? Anyway, we seem to be finally getting it, and it seems like all of these companies are playing a big psyop on us because they all have the same innovations at the same time. And what I mean by that is like Ace Pro or Insta360 just released a close focus lens and a bunch of different lenses for the Ace Pro 2, which is awesome because you don't have to buy a new camera to get it. And then DJI just now with the Action 6 released this close focus macro lens. And I want to show you how it works in practice and how it looks, and we're shooting on it right now. So you can see behind me, like, it is extremely out of focus because we also, not only with the Action 6 do we have the macro lens, but we also have a f2 aperture, which you're allowed to fix wide open when you're using the macro lens. So we'll get into that on another video. Right now, this is about the macro lens. We are at the minimum focus distance, which is about 11 centimeters off of the front. So I am very close to this lens. I feel like I'm about to kiss you. So let's back it up a bit because it's got a little bit of different settings here. This is the midway point. This is probably where I would use it and where I think it looks most natural. So you still get a lot of good background blur here, but I don't have to hold the camera obscenely close to my face. And I will say this gives a whole new look, like a visually obvious new look to action cameras. We already know that the DJI image, the D-Log image, is fantastic, and that's no different, obviously, with the Action 6. And like I said, if you are somebody who doesn't need to repurpose your footage from portrait to landscape or horizontal to vertical in the same shot, then I'm not sure that the Action 6 is really an upgrade at all over the Action 5 Pro, because the sensor is more so to give you more flexibility in post rather than give you a better image for the end result, if that makes sense. So if you're not gonna do that and you don't really want the macro lens, then this is probably the easiest skip maybe ever. But if you're somebody like me and you are addicted to buying stuff and you want to get kind of novel effects, which is like having background blur on an action camera, this might be for you, because I will say I'm pretty smitten by it. Like, it looks really good. And the best part about this macro lens is that if you don't want to use close focus at all, if you just want it to look like a normal action camera again, boom, oh, opposite way. You switch to the mountain setting, because there's three. There's like the flower icon, which is usually generally macro, the little person icon for vlogging, and then the mountains for extreme focus. This just basically resets your camera back to what you're used to, with everything being in focus from like a minimum of, 30 centimeters, whatever the normal minimum focus is on these cameras. So is this a big upgrade? The camera, no. The lens, yes. Do I wish that they did this for the Action 5 Pro? 100%, because I ended up spending about, I think, $845 Canadian dollars to get the macro lens and the Action 6. And that's a lot of money, especially when you consider it's Black Friday right now, and you could get an Osmo Pocket 3, at least in Canada, for $585. That's like $150 off of the MSRP for the Osmo Pocket 3. And you're gonna get all the other stuff. I don't like gimbals and stuff like that, so sorry, I'm ranting a bit, but again, we're just testing out the lens here. So let's go back to our little guy. I do think it's really cool to have this background separation and the f2 aperture for an action camera, because not only do we get the background blur, but we also do get closer focus. So a lot of times when you're vlogging, you're showing somebody something right in front of your eyes. We're also using the internal mic, so let me know if there's any difference with the internal mic over the Action 5. I imagine it's pretty good. We're in a relatively quiet, nice acoustic area. Lighting is immaculate at the moment. But I couldn't believe when I watched a lot of the sponsored reviews that they just kind of glazed over the macro lens, because to me that is, like I said, the biggest update with this camera is it solves one of the biggest problems with action cameras, which is the close focus. So We get it with 10-bit D-Log. We get it with all of the magic of DJI action cameras. So I'm gonna drop this to here. This is minimum focus, and then we're gonna rack all the way back, and boom. Probably my biggest wish list for this lens, now that I have it, because there's always something wrong. There's never gonna be things that are perfect, and anytime somebody solves something, it's gonna open up 10 different issues, is that I would love the ability to add ND filters to this macro lens, because then we're going to be in the territory of like really, really high quality image when we've got motion blur mixed with the close focus, mixed with some out of focus elements. And I think that will tie in the whole thing. So Freewell, if you're watching this video, I really hope that you're working on some filters for the macro lens. It doesn't protrude past the mount, and the rotation part is deeper. So I think it's possible. Please do it. That would make me very, very happy. The other thing is that for the price of this lens, I really think that it should include a lens cap. It's kind of crazy it doesn't. Like, it comes with this massive case, but no lens cap. And it's like, this is a giant front element that I wouldn't want to scratch. Like, it looks like a very nice piece of glass, but I could definitely see scratching it. It also makes the whole thing like not pocketable. So maybe next gen, we need to have this lens built into the camera with a little lens guard on top of it. But all in all, like, after all the nitpicky stuff, guys, this lens is really cool, and it's like, it's giving me new life in these action cameras. The ability to close focus is really underrated. Well, it's not underrated, we all wanted it, but it's like, it's crazy how much of a difference it makes, just like a couple centimeters. That's what she said. And again, there it is, completely everything in focus now with the macro, or with the mountain view. I will do a full kind of like overview of all the things that I like and dislike about the Action 6, kind of in the way that you know I will on this channel. It's not going to be heavily spec'd, but we're going to take this out in the real world and see how it performs. It's obviously going to perform well because the Action 5 Pro did too. But I hope, if you're like me, this video helped you kind of like get a good glimpse into what the macro lens actually does and what it looks like in practice, and that you can actually focus it if you just kind of know what you're doing. The manual focus isn't really an issue, other than the fact that I can't see where I set it without kind of doing one of these. It would have been nice if there was like a little marker or something that you could see from the front and you could just adjust it, but again, these are all nitpicky things. This is a great accessory, and the Action 6 is a great camera. Hopefully, if you're like me and you've been trying to find some footage with the macro lens, this helps you in your decision. Yeah, I will see you guys very soon with more Action 6 content. Just comment what you want to see below, and I will see what I can do. Peace!